Nintendo is known for making some of the most iconic video games of all time, but almost every bit of media they produce has a weird story behind it. Don't believe me? Well, here's a few fun facts just off the top of my head. Kirby is one of my favorite pink and lovable tumors, but I was always perplexed by his name. In Japan, cute things are usually given appropriately cute names, but the name Kirby always had a bit of a harshness to it. Well, it turns out that was completely intentional. Kirby creator Masahiro Sakurai went through a list of names while trying to brainstorm one for our lovable pink puffball, and he settled on Kirby for two reasons. The first one was that Kirby reminded him of John Kirby, an established lawyer who actually helped Nintendo out during an iconic lawsuit, so Sakurai thought the name would be a good homage to him. The second reason is that Sakurai liked the juxtaposition between the name Kirby and the character's design. Sakurai had always had a love for contrasting elements in both his games and designs, so it makes sense that this trend would start with one of his first original characters. Speaking of iconic lawsuits, what exactly did John Kirby help with? Nintendo has spent so much time in court that it's practically become a sad meme at this point, but there's one court case I'm actually happy that they won. Allow me to introduce you to the Universal City Studios Incorporated versus Nintendo Incorporated lawsuit. This was a 1983 case over a trademark infringement. According to Universal, the character Donkey Kong, the main villain in the iconic video game of the same name, was derivative of the character King Kong, which Universal claimed they owned the rights to. However, Nintendo countered by saying that Universal actually didn't have the rights to the character King Kong in that capacity. And they were right. At the time, King Kong was available in the public domain, so references and homages to giant gorillas with the name Kong were completely legal. Considering that Donkey Kong helped jumpstart Nintendo into the video game market, can you imagine what would have happened if they actually lost this case? Do you ever just accept the fact that something is iconic, but then get blown away by exactly how iconic it actually is? Donkey Kong is a landmark classic that marked a lot of first times. Not only was it arguably the first appearance of a Mario-like character, but it was also the directorial debut of expert sword holder Shigeru Miyamoto. But there's more. Did you know that Donkey Kong is arguably the first video game ever to incorporate a jump button? Yeah, between the release of Pong and this game, there weren't really any other documented cases of video games that incorporated a character jumping over obstacles. Jumpman leaping over barrels and doing backflips was seen as a remarkable innovation at the time. Considering the games that Nintendo would later make, it's fair to say that had Donkey Kong not been a success, we could have very much never seen the birth of the platforming genre as we know it. However, not every idea that Nintendo came up with was a hit. Don't you hate it when the successful little brother completely overshadows the big brother? No, I'm not talking about Luigi being the superior Mario brother, and that's a fact. I'm talking about Discon. And if you have no idea who I'm talking about, that makes sense. We know that Mario is the iconic mascot for Nintendo and is easily one of the most recognizable mascots in the entire world. However, he wasn't Nintendo's first attempt at creating a mascot. That honor arguably goes to Discon, otherwise known as Mr. Disc, who is a mascot for the Famicom Disk System in Japan. The Famicom Disk System was a peripheral add-on for the Nintendo Famicom, which was a Japanese version of the NES. It basically allowed you to turn your Famicom into a mini computer system, complete with yellow floppy disks to store data. There were plenty of marketing materials for the system in Japan that featured this adorable little guy who is definitely modeled after those yellow floppy disks. However, due to issues with pirating and a lack of sales outside of Japan, the Famicom Disk System was quickly retired, and Discon has since been sent to Cameo Hell, which is a shame because I would definitely watch an Illumination movie based off of this little guy. Speaking of movies and game adaptations, have you ever come across a product so devoid of its original charm that you can't help but wonder if the people behind the wheel actually cared about what they were making? No, I'm not bitter. Maybe that's a loaded question, but very rarely do we actually get the confirmation that the people working on something didn't actually care about it. That was not the case with the original live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie though, directed by Annabelle Jankel and Rocky Morton. This film is weird and exists in this nebulous space of being both a terrible movie and iconic classic all at the same time. Instead of being a bright and colorful film about platforming and Koopa Troopas, be instead of a dark, gritty Mad Max style film complete with nightclubs and King Bowser looking like Donald Trump. According to Jankel during an interview, she doesn't recall either her or her partner ever actually sitting down and playing the game, which might have something to do with the final result. Yeah, you think? Look, you can dislike the Illumination Mario movie all you want, but at least you get the sense that someone on the staff actually cared. And those have been just a few random Nintendo fun facts. If you like what you see here, consider subscribing or checking me out on Twitch, and leave a comment below if you have a certain franchise that you would like me to check out next. This has been Bolts the Mechanic, and I will see you all next time.